Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute bedrock of our digital world. We're going to trace the chronological evolution of the hardware and software innovations that quite literally built the modern era. It's an incredible story of human ingenuity, really showing how we went from simple mechanical looms all the way to the massive cloud scalability we rely on every single day.
Here's the roadmap for our journey today. We'll start with the punch card era, move into shrinking hardware and growing power, then look at evolving coding languages, the personal computer boom, mobile devices, and the cloud, before wrapping up with future scalability and AI. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The punch card era.
The story of computing actually starts way before electricity was even a thing. It really kicked off because industries desperately needed to automate super tedious manual labor. Back in the 1840s, the textile industry started using physical punch cards with holes in them to tell mechanical looms exactly where to place threads for complex patterns. Soon after, visionary pioneers like Ada Lovelace, who was widely considered the very first computer programmer, translated early theoretical designs and added her own algorithms. These early mechanical theories eventually materialized decades later into the massive room-sized machines used during the World War II era, like the Z3 and the ENIAC.
And this perfectly illustrates why these machines were built in the first place: pure necessity. To put this into perspective, think about the US Census in the late 1800s. The population was absolutely exploding, and it was taking a staggering 8 years just to count everyone by hand. By the time they finished, the data was completely obsolete. To solve this huge bottleneck, an inventor named Herman Hollerith created a tabulating machine that used punch cards for instructions. His machine slashed that agonizing 8-year wait down to just 2 years. And that immense business success eventually led to the creation of one of the biggest tech companies in history, IBM.
So what's the common thread here? Well, at the absolute root of all these complex mechanical systems, and actually every modern machine since, is binary code. Because computers don't natively get our base 10 numbers or our alphabet, they run on a base 2 system. Everything is represented by just 2 digits: a 0, meaning an electronic switch is off, and a 1, meaning the switch is on. It's just Boolean logic, true or false. Every single color, video, or text message you send today boils down to these simple true or false switches.
Section 2. Shrinking hardware, growing power.
Okay, so early true computing relied on vacuum tubes for those vital on and off switches. And man, these things were intense. The 1945 ENIAC required 18,000 of these fragile, energy-hungry glass tubes. They generated so much heat that the room literally felt like a massive bake oven. Plus, you couldn't just easily type into these machines. They relied on teams of brilliant women, originally referred to as human computers, who manually programmed the machines by routing wires through complex physical plug boards for every single new calculation.
But then, in the 1950s, a real game-changer hit. We completely ditched those bulky, overheating, inefficient vacuum tubes for transistors. Think of a transistor as doing the exact same job, flipping a switch on or off, but on a microscopic scale using semiconductors like silicon. By the 1960s, we were packing millions of these microscopic switches onto tiny integrated circuits, or what we now call microchips.
And this exponential leap in hardware had immediate real-world impacts. Get this. In 1951, the commercial UNIVAC computer started using magnetic tape to store data instead of physical punch cards. This let it process statistical data so efficiently that it actually predicted the outcome of the 1952 Eisenhower presidential election based on early data. The press corps flat out refused to believe it at first, but the computer was spot on. It forced the world to finally take computing power seriously.
Moving on to Section 3, evolving the coding languages.
As the hardware shrank and became vastly more powerful, we desperately needed a better way to communicate with it. As humans, typing out millions of ones and zeros is just impossible. So we write instructions in a high-level language, using words we actually understand. But remember, the hardware only speaks machine code. So this human code has to be translated step by step through an interpreter or compiler, down through an assembly language, and finally into binary machine code so the processor can execute it at the speed of light.
When businesses are building scalable software today, they usually choose between two main software paradigms for that translation. They can use compiled code, like C or Fortran, which translates the whole shebang into machine code all at once before running it. It's incredibly fast, but kind of tough to troubleshoot. Or they can use interpreted code, like Python or Java, which translates the code line by line as it runs. This is slightly slower, but makes debugging a whole lot easier.
So software evolved incredibly fast, from tedious procedural instructions into the robust languages we use today.
We started with Fortran for high-level math, and COBOL, spearheaded by the legendary Dr. Grace Hopper for business data. Then the 90s brought us object-oriented languages like Java, which was famously known as write once, run anywhere. Today, massively scalable business apps rely heavily on accessible languages like Python and JavaScript to handle dynamic logic and just enormous sets of data.
Section 4. The personal computer boom. With coding languages maturing, computing was ready to break out of giant corporate data centers and head straight into our living rooms. Entering the 1970s and 80s, microchips made hardware incredibly cheap and small, letting innovators build computer kits for the home. In the mid-70s, the Altair 8800 hit the scene, and pioneers like Bill Gates and Paul Allen wrote software for it, birthing Microsoft. Right around the same time, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak sparked a revolution with Apple. By 1981, the IBM PC hit the market, standardizing desktop computers in almost every professional office. Competition was fierce, nimble, and it pushed innovation at an absolutely blinding pace.
Section 5. Mobile devices and the cloud.
All right, let's step into the modern era. To me, this is the true climax of the hardware evolution, the untethering of the computer. In 2007, the smartphone completely flipped the script. We were no longer chained to a stationary desktop. Suddenly, you had incredible PC-level processing power sitting right there in your pocket. You could check the weather, trade stocks, and send emails from an airport or a bus. It fundamentally changed consumer behavior forever.
But think about it. With billions of us suddenly generating all this mobile data, where does it all go? Well, it goes to the cloud. And let's demystify that term right now. It's not literally floating up there in the sky. The cloud is actually the ultimate business scalability solution. It's a robust physical network of centralized, highly redundant computer servers maintained by massive tech companies. So instead of storing files locally on a fragile hard drive that might crash, you store them securely on these global servers, letting you access them from any device anywhere in the world.
To really grasp the sheer scale of modern hardware, consider this. A single modern computer CPU can execute over 4 billion instructions in just 1 second. 4 billion! That shock value really puts things into perspective when you think about where we started, painstakingly counting the census with physical punch cards.
Section 6. Future, scalability, and AI.
So what does this all mean for us right now? Let's talk real-world business impact. Because absolutely everything today, from your mobile banking app to self-driving cars to robotic surgery, relies strictly on code, there is a massive business talent shortage. Currently, there are around 1.4 million computing-related job openings in the US, but US university grads are only filling about 33% of them. Here's the big takeaway. Learning to code right now offers absolutely incredible career opportunities. There's massive corporate demand for languages like Python, Java, and database languages like SQL. Because of this demand, starting salaries frequently top $80,000 a year right out of college, and the entire industry focus is rapidly shifting toward machine learning and AI, meaning those skills are literally more valuable than ever. Which leads us to a pretty massive final thought today. We've evolved from mechanical looms to massive cloud servers, all driven by human ingenuity writing the code. But as machine learning explodes, we really have to ask, what happens to humanity, the job market, and the entire technology industry when AI finally learns to write and optimize its own code? It's a profound paradigm shift, and we are right at the forefront of it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the technology that shapes our world.